Hello, welcome to the Collective Rite of Passage conversation, starting on YouTube here at Easter, a resurrection of new beliefs, new possibilities. Our conversation will persist monthly, and today we'll talk about how we discern so we can learn from one another when we come into shared space. And the group of women that we have are just wonderful. We're so blessed. So, my name is Madeline. I'm from Growing with the Seasons, and I've been inspired to harmonize families, become in harmony myself. I've found so much of my work to be around that triple goddess within and that argument that can happen inside oneself over what's okay and not okay. So the unification and the wholeness of my being has brought so much more clarity to everything I'm seeing. And in that way, I'm so curious to talk with others to be able to become shared vision, move from the hearts, encourage the hearts into shared vision. So I'm grateful to the hearts that are here today. And I hope you'll keep listening and see what we have to say, and then keep these conversations going, because we're all in big changes. That's why it's the collective rite of passage that we've stated. And at this time, when we're able to work together better, we could potentially create a new reality. So let's see. So we're going to have our guests introduce themselves, and then we're going to go into our first topic for this month. And I'm going to pick somebody to go first, and then we're going to go from there. I think we're going to take the youngest to start, because we really want to honor the wisdom that comes from the young ones too. And then from there, you can just pick whoever you want to, and then just let it go around the space. Okay, we'll move it like that in a popcorn way. And thank each and every one of your presence. And so, Kira, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, my name's Kira. I'm a college student from Northern New Jersey. I study art history. Obviously, I'm dating Madeline's son, Cole, which is part of the reason why I'm here. But most of the reason why I'm here is because I think Madeline is great. She's full of wisdom. Every time I've talked with her, I felt like I've left with more in my heart than I entered the room with. I have been very involved in mindfulness practices since I was, I think 11 or 12, because I started having bad anxiety. So I've always found it meaningful part of my life to just stay grounded and be involved and know what my body is feeling, allow my body to feel what it needs to feel, and just keep it moving. But I would like to popcorn over to Marianne.
Hi, I'm Marianne Fernandez. I am also in Northern New Jersey. I am a yoga practitioner, mom, Reiki practitioner in a hospital, meditation as well, mom of 3 young men. Yeah, I think that's the biggest job of all of them. I always say I'm an accidental yogi. I started late in life. I didn't start very young, and it's something that once I started completely changed my entire life in every aspect. So I'm very honored to be here amongst all these wise women, sharing the space and knowledge and wisdom that we all have cultivated through time, through experience. I am going to popcorn over to Basha.
Thank you, Marianne and Kira and everyone, and especially Madeline. I've known Madeline for over 20 years, and we are definitely heart sisters as tree lovers, and really feeling the tree within. I've been going through what I call a replatforming in the last 3 to 4 months. And that has meant that I've looked at my own life personally and come to recognize where I have expertise and, in fact, in some cases, mastery. And I have also turned toward all of my business's websites and school, and they are all moving onto new platforms. My official business name is biobaliainstitute.org. And what that's about from that eagle's perch level is biobalia means biology in balance, and so biobalia means a whole greater than the sum of its parts. So what I do, and with my partner Jim Conroy, what we do together is a combination of working directly with the consciousness and the spirits of trees and plants, and then in doing so, ask them from their point of view about their health. So we have created over the last almost 25 years processes for healing their inner health from the inside out. So yes, trees and plants get sick too. And they're a lot like people in that they can be interacted with in consciousness and healed with our, very botanically targeted methods, because Dr. Jim is a PhD in plant pathology, and I've just loved trees all my life. So then, given all of that, we also teach all of that, and that's where our new school, we're again shifting platforms, creating a school, and the school's name is ecobiobalia.school, and it's about to go up in perhaps the next week. It's close. It's really close. So for me, my life right now has been all about this, both self-examination and bringing all, I'm feeling myself, it's kind of like a birth, bringing all of this forward into the world so that he and I can really make the difference that we want to make in the world, both with the environment and people, to help restore a livable planet. So what I thought I was going to start saying is just the long and winding road that my life has been to get to this place. It's it's pretty amazing, and even though I'm in perhaps the more senior level of most of this group, I feel like I'm just starting, and I feel like I have used everything that I've ever discovered and learned in my life to now move forward with. And I feel very blessed and very safe in this group. I really only know Madeline from my past, just meeting everyone today, but I feel very welcome and very safe here. So thank you so much. Let's popcorn over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Basha. My name's Jennifer. I'm a mother of 3 adult men. It's hard to say that. I always think of them as boys, but they're men. I'm a Reiki practitioner and teacher. The name of my business is Berkshire Reiki. But I would say I am feeling the shift that the collective is feeling. And I am wondering what is going to be down the road. I've been doing Reiki for 18 years. I love every moment of it, but I'm being called to do something in addition or grander than working one at a time with people. I'm feeling like I need to reach more people and do healings quicker and faster. That's me. I'm going to popcorn it over to Laureen.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Madeline, for bringing us all together so we can share in this beautiful way. So I am Laureen. I'm the mother of 3 myself, adults as well. Happy to say that. I'm a person who's on a spiritual journey probably my entire life. And through all my careers and jobs and life experiences, I find that the expression of spirituality for me has become most paramount. I am a divine channel. I am an Akashic Records practitioner, a energy healer, and past life regressionist. And from all of the work that I do, helping people find their inner wisdom, their higher selves, their answers that they seek, I find that to be a tremendously rewarding way to work with people and to get to know people. And I think it's really bringing me to meet people like you all and finding women who have that something in their heart and in their mind that makes them step up in the world to do maybe the weird thing, maybe the unusual thing, maybe that spiritual thing. It takes courage and authenticity, and I'm very honored to be here with all of you and thrilled to be able to speak my mind and my heart in such a beautiful space. So thank you.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Rebecca, sorry, I should have sent it over to my buddy.
Great, you're good.
No worries. Thank you. I share Laureen and everyone's joy and gratitude for being in this amazing space. I like how Basha said, even this first time around, it feels like a safe space to be authentic and to be able to share from that space of the heart. I am also a mother of adult children, a daughter and a son, and have been a lifelong seeker. Somewhere along the way, I started having this perception of having lifetimes and lifetimes where we mastered something. And then we said, okay, I got that, and I'm going to have lifetimes mastering this. And then got that, I'll have lifetimes mastering this. And that what we're doing in this lifetime is bringing all of those masteries, those diverse masteries, into a unique stained glass window. Each color reflects something that we've mastered, and the way that we bring them together now is unique to frequency for who we are, and just an alchemy of everything we've worked very hard and many lifetimes to bring together. So as a lifetime seeker, I find myself, I've been a teacher, I've studied many diverse ways of healing and have put them together in unique ways. In recent times, if I could say a new platform like Basha, I feel called to working with women, a collective healing for our gender, but also my work is called soul healing. And I feel anytime you bring the soul in to help the human aspect and perspective of ourselves, you're going to have that's going to be a good blend. And my focus is to bring, to support people's emotional and spiritual well-being. And with regards to the women, I bring that soul healing through a women's retreat called Into the Heart, Awakening Women's Wisdom, a podcast I do with Laureen, where we get to hear about women's voices and other ways. But I do feel, and I love sound frequencies, whether it's my voice or crystal bowls or chimes or tuning forks. And I just love how there are so many beautiful, almost simple and yet profound ways to bring healing to all of us. And as we heal as a gender, we're going to heal as a collective, because that compassion is in everyone. So that's what I strive to express and bring heart and light into the world through. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here.
Man, look at this. Look at what happened. Look at how fresh all these energies are and so willing to be so real and true. My goodness, I'm excited to see what happens. So I want to just lay some ground rules because it's our first time doing this, right? And not necessarily ground rules. I just mean like understandings, because we're not necessarily going to always understand what someone else says, right? And the human experience is such that our personalities have this job of kind of protecting us in a way, or us being us, right? And because we're calling in the hearts of everyone here, our personality or our character may have a response. I'd like us to be able to bring those responses in the most respectful way possible, right? So let's say somebody says something that I'm like, how does that work? I don't understand that. I've never had that happen to me. So why was it like that for you? Help me understand, right? And it's so that we can continue to discern and learn. Those are the words that keep coming for this collective rite of passage. We must discern and learn about the oneness that is us, right? Because it's so easy to believe that where you're standing is the whole picture. And I know from loving trees and working with them around the world whenever I could visit, because Basha and Jim told me they can connect to each other, just remind them. So anywhere I ever traveled, I went to the trees and I said, I want you to meet my friends in Highland Lakes. I want you to meet my friends in Ireland. I want you to meet my friends in India, knowing that that would support the trees, remembering that we know that we're all connected and so are they, right? So even though we might have a completely different experience growing wherever we grow, just like the trees grow in different places, there's an interconnection between them that's also alive in us. Like one of the conversations that was touched on before we all came on to record was how powerful our voice is to our own body and our own cells, right? How we actually let it know if it's okay to get better or not and what we can do, right? So let's not hesitate to ask questions, but be careful not to judge, right? Judge in a closing way. Be more curious. Can we all agree to that? Is everybody okay with that as a template for us as a team here? Is there any other thoughts that you all have about understandings that might support the kindest environment for our shares?
Madeline, will you introduce yourself? Because I don't really know you that well.
Oh, well, I'm Madeline. I grew in the city to start, and I ended up in the woods. So I'm a little bit of both. I love the city and I love the country. I am a voice of truth and clarity. I have used my voice for clarity as long as I've been me. As a little girl, I did ask the bishop why they were making people feel guilty and shame and wondered why they would do that to people and wondered what they thought they were doing. And I couldn't believe it. I was just flabbergasted by their audacity, so like that's kind of been me the whole time. I did learn to be more quiet about it because I did have some really vulnerable parts in my life where it looked like I did the bad thing or the dumb thing. And everybody was like, oh, I can't believe you did that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, no, I did that. I'm that. And then I grew up and I was like, yeah, that's what I did because that's what I could do at that time. And that's who I am, So I now reside in a really at ease place. I'm as authentic as I could ever be. I have the grace of 5 beautiful sons and an ex-husband and a current husband that are all like beautiful parts of my life. Like my husband and my husband are both like some of my best friends in the world. So relationship is like really important to me. One of the phrases that goes with me is life's a school and relationships the classroom. And so I've really taken that to heart. And I recognize that the relationship that was the most important was the one with myself. And like anyone else who lived through something like that you're not supposed to do, like I'm a birth mother. I had a childhood out of high school, so I was shamed by the universe. But then I now understand as a, I don't know, Madeline or whatever I'm supposed to be, that was actually a catalyst to my growth, and it broke me down so I could come back together differently, you know? So I don't see myself or anyone as a victim. I see everyone as something that's trying to grow through what their life gave them to grow through. So I wouldn't call me the most compassionate girl on the street, right? I could definitely learn some compassion, because sometimes I'm very Saturn-like, you know. I'm like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm like that. But overall, I want to be part of what helps the children feel safe again. Sorry. I'm sorry, I don't know where that's coming from, but yeah, I want to do everything I can to let little kids be themselves again, but not mean. I'm seeing so many little kids that are just mean, like being hurtful to other people, and it's really making me sad. I'm like, how come they think it's okay to be so mean? So I really would like to create some harmony in our families and around us so that the children can feel that and play in that and laugh in that and explore and know themselves more in that, right? Because if we're all fighting over who should be president, or if boys and girls should be in charge, or what should happen, then they're kind of growing in the light of a fight. And I don't understand why we would do that to our kids. Like, part of why I'm good friends with everybody who's had a kid with me, or anybody in my family, is I don't need my kids to be around that. That's not going to help them figure out how to be in a relationship or look for a solution. That's going to get them all righteous, thinking that we're the green ones and they're the blue ones. So you know how we are about those green ones. And I'm like, no. The green and the blue and the yellow and the red and everyone is the same. They just, again, I'll go to my trees. They're the sycamores and they're the maples and they're the pines and they're the oaks. And there's nothing but trees growing. And they have a different experience because they're a different kind of tree. But the interconnection between them all, to me, like, that's what's up. You know, so that's, I don't know. I mean, I have a bunch of things I did. I have a bunch of letters after my name. Like, I'm not suggesting there's not all these like things that people might say, but that's the me that I bring to anything I do. Is it's about the heart, it's about family, it's about the kids.
Thank you.
So then my question for this one, like, and just for the backdrop for anyone, I'm in a podcast with Rebecca and Laureen, and I spent 2 years on StreamYard doing the cards. I'm a big lover of the destiny cards and the playing cards and how they help inform us about who we are. And I did that for 2 years. And I did a podcast with these two ladies. And when I did it, I got off the podcast and I wrote out these questions for the whole year about what we were supposed to do. And it came out of me. There was no AI involved. It was just like, these conversations have to happen. So the first topic for this conversation to me was, how do we get safe enough, which we kind of already did. So I don't know how we did it, but we did it, to be able to really be our truth in the conversation, right? Because the primary thing for me is I don't want the watered down version of anybody. Right? I want your purity and your clarity, because you know what I don't know. I'm smarter because my heart talks to your heart. And that's true for everybody else too. Right? So when you come into a space like this, is there anything in your awareness? And I bring to each of you to talk about how you felt about preparing yourself for the conversation, how you discerned it. And it's not necessarily for more than helping the audience understand how to do that, because I pray that these conversations open up in communities. I pray there's more conversations between people in communities, and they start to talk about the things that really matter, like the values from which they raise their families, and not the teams from which they compete. So that's where I sit with that one. So is there anyone who wants to start in their response, Basha? Please do.
Yeah, because I am typically very uncomfortable in groups. So I think it's maybe good that I'm going first, because that's a real honesty that I have to put out. It has a lot to do with so speaking this really goes right up against my disease to please. And I think a lot of women, especially some of us who are a little older, were brought up in that space of, in order to be safe, we had to please any number of people. So I'm typically very uncomfortable. I referred when I first spoke here to doing this replatforming of myself. And that's certainly been going on for a long time, but it's really come to more of a head in these last several months, where I feel like I'm finally able to, I love what you said, the me that I bring, I'm finally able to bring more of myself. And how did I get here? I took an awful lot of years to do the inner work, do the writing, do the journaling, take the workshops, talk to people like Madeline, be engaged with my passions in life, to get to the place where I came to acknowledge myself and improve, here we go, improve that relationship with myself that Madeline referred to. And a lot of that also required setting boundaries and setting preferences in my relationships with other people. In fact, that was probably the biggest part of it, because of that disease to please.
I love that disease to please. That's so great. I think about how you heal a disease. I just love it. I never heard it that way. I love it.
But I'm sure, let's see, does everyone sort of recognize what that means? Yeah, because it's in the, I listened very carefully to each of you speak yourselves so far, and I noticed how calm and natural you were. Whether you felt that way or not inside, I don't know, but you presented that way, and that was beautiful. And where I'm still at is this sort of need to smile, need to say nice things. And so I aspire to be as peaceful and calm and, in a sense, matter of fact, as each of you were in your expression of yourselves. And that, that's really beautiful. And at the same time, I feel that my expression of myself comes from the, again, Madeline referred to this, that elemental self that is within myself, which doesn't need to smile or please, but is naturally bubbly and joyous. And that's more of what I want to get across, of my true self, not that need to please. So yeah, so have I answered? I think I've spoken the
that's wonderful, Masha. Thank you so much. And I thank you for collecting us all in those understandings, because I think you're very, very right that one of the things that I think anybody does to try to feel safe is to try to fit in or to please. I mean, like, as much as it's a woman thing for sure, I think that, men also find their ways to those conversations where they're more pleasing than not, especially men of our generation. They're not living in that same comfort of like, we'll just take care of you as long as you like let us be in the room with you kind of stuff, right? Like, it's a very different world, right? So I think you hit the note. Thank you very much. So who wants to go next? You want to pick someone, Basha?
Oh, no, please just come forth as you're comfortable.
I'll speak. Basha, what you said very much relates to me. I came from a upbringing where being my authentic self was not invited and not celebrated by any stretch of the imagination. So it's taken me really my lifetime of this journey that I'm in to really feel comfortable in my authentic self, and even still defining that and showing up in truth and really being comfortable with saying what's on my mind. But through history in my life, I never felt comfortable in a group, never did, never felt safe. And that just really speaks to, my upbringing, and no self-awareness either. I'll throw that in. But showing up and being in a group like this, it reminds me of how through my journey, I'll call it, trying to find my tribe, trying to find those like-minded, beautiful heart people who are working on themselves, spiritual people, I suppose, could be a way of saying it, but not necessarily religious, not to imply that, but just somebody who's working on their inner selves and trying to reach that authenticity. And that's the journey that I've been on. So I've come a long way. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with these beautiful souls. And something else that Basha said, that disease to please, boy, does that hit home. Because while you're trying to not make waves, trying not to be too disagreeable at home, you bring that out. You bring that out into the world, trying to make mommy and daddy happy so you don't get in trouble. It becomes a survival skill that you bring out into the world that just may not be needed, but it's that tool that you keep reaching for, because it kept you safe. It kept you safe. And working through that's a journey. That's a journey. So that I can, stand here and feel that I can let my hair down and really be me. And also trusting that I'm being heard in a group. That was a journey too. Now I'm old enough, I'm just going to kind of say it. Hopefully with some reverence to other people's feelings, of course. But it's for me, it's just learning to be me. That's been the journey. Let's throw it to somebody. How about Kira?
I would say too that the disease to please also really resonates with me. I think I'm still in like the throes of, having to go through that and work through it. Because I grew up like socially inept. I had really I had no idea like how other people were reacting to me. And I think a lot of times like I thought people were being a lot friendlier than they actually were. So I would overshare and like overestimate, I guess, how wanted I was in a space. And obviously that led to like a lot of hurt feelings for myself. So maybe in high school when I was like 16 or 15, I started to really realize that I was like throwing myself out in the world and like not really taking count of like where I was supposed to be, just kind of everybody's my friend, like I want to know everybody, whatever. And after that, I became a lot more closed off. I think in recent years, I have been kind of hesitant to put myself out there. I found my people. I have a group of like great girlfriends that I love. I am very close with my family. And so outside of that, it's like I don't really need a lot more. But when I am in a space, right, where I have to like be the new person or introduce myself, I often find myself reaching in the compliment bag. I'll just compliment anybody to try and like weasel my way in and be like a safe person. And I think also, especially like with talking to women, that's definitely an easy way to like strike up a friendship. Oh, I like your hair, I like your earrings, your skirt, that looks great on you, I like that color. So that's always what I do. A couple New Years ago, that was my resolution, to do one compliment a day. And I did it, but it definitely speaks to the kind of people-pleasing aspect of it. And I do still think I am like going through that and trying to figure out like how much of myself I want to bring to the table when I am meeting new people. I think another thing that I do is I also have like some comfort people, like my best friend, you know, I bring her everywhere with me. And like my boyfriend, like, you know, if I'm going somewhere, it's like, it's nice to have him with. So I think I'm still kind of, you know, finding my way. It's hard to be on my own sometimes. I do like to have someone with me who I know like is a safe person, where if something goes wrong and I make a fool out of myself, like I can turn to them and it's funny and it's not a big deal. But yeah, I would like to popcorn to Jennifer.
He does have a great sense of humor. I just want to comment to one thing you said. You know, I'm also a complimenter, a praiser. I think recently Bosch even said like, oh, thank you for your kind words. People always say your kind words to me. But like, I recognize that that's one of the things we didn't do, like praise and gratitude and stuff like that. Like we forget those, right? Because of the more, you know, gamey way that relationships worked, like saying those things like, well, what do you want from me? If you say, it's like, I don't want anything. I want you to know that I see how beautiful that is. And I really appreciate how beautiful that is. And I don't need anybody's power. I'm trying to figure out how to use mine. Like I have no interest in anyone's power. Do you know? But like, there's a way that I hear you with those compliment things that it's like, well, that's nice, or I like that. And it does open the energies to say, oh, let's know that person more, because they're not coming at me with like, what can I get from you? They're coming at me with a mirror that says, oh, I see you.
Yeah, it's a good gauge. I feel like watching someone react to a compliment is always a good way to see what kind of person they are.
Nice. I'll let you go ahead, Basha.
Throw something in, and then I unfortunately have a health practitioner appointment that I have to leave for. Let me just draw the distinction between compliment and acknowledgement. When the acknowledgement comes from your heart and you're seeing into the person, not just their earrings or their clothes, but you see into the person and you speak that, it's different from a compliment. And people either welcome it or get self-conscious about it. So just wanted to throw that in. And unfortunately, I'm so sorry I have to go. I really, really love this space. And I look forward to joining in this space with all of you again. And then I think perhaps I can hear the recording later and pick up on what everyone has said. So again, thank you so much. And I'll try to figure out how to get.
I can help you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Basha. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye. All right.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'll go. How I discern truth when meeting people. You know, I read people's energy, and if I'm really in the energy, well, the energy is always, I'm always in the energy, but you know, the energy is always on. But if I'm really tuned up, I've meditated, I've walked, I'm at the highest frequency I can hold. When I meet people, I can learn a lot about them, especially if I touch them. That's good or bad. So my daughter-in-law and girlfriend-in-laws know this about me. And when they get out of the car and they've just had their journey to come to our house, I give them a hug. And I can tell they're like, what is she going to pick up from me? What is she going to read from me? So I always try to tell them, don't worry, I'm not powered up. I'm just mom right now. Don't worry about it. But social settings to me are uncomfortable because I do pick up a lot of energy and I read a lot of energy that's out there with, I don't know, just nonverbal cues. And I can give you an example. This is kind of an extreme example, but I had just come in from a walk. So in my mind, I had been talking to God. I felt very calm. I was very centered. I was very grounded. And one of our neighbors came over and was chatting about the shrubs or something. And I gave her a hug, and I saw two cells divide and then divide into four and then divide. And I looked at her and I said, "Do you have any news that you'd like to share?" And she said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "Are you pregnant?" And she said, "I am. I just took the pregnancy test this morning." So, I mean, like when I say I'm a highly sensitive person, that's how it works for me. I just have to touch the person. And I, like, when they're on the table, I touch their forehead, the top of their head, and I can see where the energy goes. So I know instantly if they're not grounded, or if their heart is in pain, or if their throat chakra is being squeezed. So when I'm discerning in a group, I'm reading everyone's energy, and it's not a judgmental thing. It's, do I see that this space is open and loving and compassionate enough to hear what I'm saying, or do I need to step back and find a different group? And it took me many years to realize it's okay to excuse yourself from a group. Like, I don't need to please you. You know, that is, I think, a gift of menopause. You can just excuse yourself and make up a lie. I've got to go to the restroom. And you're thinking, I don't ever want to go back into that group. Those are not my people. You know, my husband is a professional. And so whenever we would have to go to these, you know, parties, I would dread them because these are all very professional, left-brained men. And I'm coming in with, you know, on fire of energy, and they ask me what I do, and I say I'm an energy healer, and you just see, you know, these professional people like, okay, like I should have just said I'm a unicorn, or you know, like, but now I'm just like, yeah, baby, that's what I do. You want to know about it? And I'm reading them. I'm like, they don't want to know. I'm moving on. If they do want to know, yeah, I'm like, all about myself. So reading the cues, reading the energy is how I discern the truth in new situations. That's it.
Nice. I love that. It's like, I remember being younger and people saying, "You're a therapist? Well, are you going to be a therapist to me now?" And I was like, "No, are you going to be a construction worker to me? Are you going to be a lawyer to me? Like, I'm just a therapist. Like, I just read people," right?
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, that discernment of how much to say and not to say. But I love how different it is right now. I believe energy work and the fact that we're all connected that way is becoming a lot more mainstream. So
Yes.
I know what you're saying. In our generation, those kind of conversations were real awkward with the fellers, for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for telling us more about you. So who are you going to pick?
Let's go with Rebecca.
Okay, thank you. I'm learning so much. I've had the issue for me, kind of, I don't know any other word but to say kind of an innocence, because I did not grow up in an environment where it wasn't safe to be me. And so I've been bowled over because I have the capacity to see the best in someone, which I feel is very important for my work, because if I'm going to help somebody to promote their spiritual and emotional well-being, I need to be able to see where you can go, and not like where you are. And so there's pros and cons to that, because I will be blindsided by things that other people who have learned how to read a room they will know, avoid that person, avoid that room, let's go over here. And I really don't have that sense because I'm seeing the best in someone. And so I find that innocence is beneficial on the one hand, but I've had to navigate that in other ways. And what I've learned is it's very important for me to be energy aware, because I can walk into spaces, especially there's several of us who have the experience of working in places like hospitals and rehab centers and places like that. And I can leave somewhere like that and recognize, oh, I just brought a lot of that with me. So there's that energy awareness of what to make sure that I am prepared for the environment that I'm going into, and how I kind of clear that when I leave. I choose where I feel like my frequency will be aligned. And when I can choose not to go to places or not to see things, even movies and stuff like that, I'm very sensitive to. You're in a collective environment with people and you're seeing things, and there's a lot of energetic jumble that is combined in that. And so I can choose places that I feel that will be uplifting, or places that I can tell that's just not going to be an uplifting place for my frequency to be in. I loved how Kira talked about comfort people, because one of the things that I've noted for myself is that going to an unfamiliar environment, or I've got also a husband, he's a research scientist, so his environment is like that. And having someone to go with me that will see me or support me or kind of be a buffer for me, that helps a lot. And I love that phrase, comfort people. I also loved how Jen mentioned, well, I've got to go to the bathroom and I'm not going back there. I feel it's important when I'm going into new environments that I remind myself that I have the ability to choose how long I will be there or not. And recently, actually just this weekend, I was feeling kind of overwhelmed by a lot of things. I felt like I don't have a pocket where it's safe to be me. And I just needed to remove myself for a while. And I think that's a healthy thing, that we can give ourselves permission for. And I find that, again, being a spiritual consciousness seeker for my life, it is not and has never really been about religion, even though I grew up in a religious environment. It was a very open space. I find that it's very easy and sometimes safe to filter who I am, because a lot of times people weren't really interested in hearing about energy healing and being a practitioner and the incredible things that were happening. And I wanted to make sure that I felt safe being me. So how much do I say or not? How much do I filter? And sometimes that would make me really sad, because I would feel like people that I really cared for, I feel connections to people almost immediately because of that soul part. And I think, well, this is sad. I can't be the best of me. I can't share the best of me. I have to filter that and hide that. And what I'm finding more and more now that I'm in my 60s, even when I became in my 50s, I feel that there are more platforms like Zoom and StreamYard, and ways that we can have these network connections so that we can find these communities that almost instantly, I feel like I can be me. I can bring the best of me and it's received. And that allows me to continue nurturing the authenticity, so that it's okay to choose other places that I won't go to or don't need to be there, or I can filter a part of myself and I can just be the light of my heart. And that is a way to lift where I'm not taking on so much energy. So these new places, it's a beautiful question, Madeline. I really have been thinking about this, and my gratitude right now is that there's an ease for finding communities like this. It's just an incredible spiritual burgeoning to be able to meet other people I've never seen before and feel like, oh yeah, I could just be with these people all day. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you very much. I agree. I think it's fascinating how frequency works. I think we're bees of a similar frequency. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you even look at some of our facial structures, they're similar. It's fascinating. I always find that there's a frequency and a vibration that wants to connect. And when you meet it, the person opens like a flower, because it's like, oh, okay, okay, I can do this, because I'm in the opening frequency. Do you know? And when Lorene knows, when I used to do the sisterhood satsangs, people would just kind of flower on their mats. They would open up, they would share who they were, because the environment became that type of container that said, the only job is to be you. No one is responsible for you. Nobody's going to fix you. Nobody's going to come over and do it for you. This is your learning. This is your classroom. And we are mirrors and reflections of possibility. And we can use our voices and our choices to groom a place for grace, right? Because otherwise we're trauma bonding and we're down the pipe, and we're not necessarily creating anything inspiring for the children, for the next ones. So very cool.
I just will add to that, because I feel that this is something that's being highlighted right here, and it's another beautiful facet to what you're creating, Madeline, is that I really don't see age and those kinds of markers. And that goes back to what you're saying about a frequency. When you're tapping into a frequency and it's the soul, then all of those kind of exterior constructs kind of go away, and it puts us on this beautiful same space where we can all have something to share and contribute and learn and grow from. So yeah, I like the bees.
I also would like to share that, this technology format is so beneficial for meeting other peeps who are like yourself, because, before the pandemic, you had those feelings of isolation and loneliness, because you're like, where are people like me? And then when Zoom became really prevalent, and now these type of things, it's a answer to a prayer of longing that I have had, that even though I'm in Massachusetts and I know there's got to be other people like me in Massachusetts, where are they? Here in California, New Jersey, all over the world, but we are connected and feeling so family and soul sisters right now.
Just like the trees.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really try not to talk about the trees as much as I want to, because I'm like obsessed. Like, it's my children they all had to hear that crap the whole time. Like, it's just, everything is in a tree metaphor in my brain. Kira knows, she's heard the metaphors. So, but yeah, so let's go to Marianne and hear how being in the truth and coming here feels for you. And after this, we're just going to move towards creating a frequency to release the disease to please, and lift our hearts even higher as we let go until next time we meet. But please go, Mary.
So I just want to share that my little tea bag is friendship is a sheltering tree. I was like, oh, let me read this. Let me see what message it has. I love those little tea bags. So listening to everyone, it's so interesting how, you hear and right, we all kind of gravitate to one another, and definitely somehow almost curated, right, through the universe or however it seems. I love that discernment has been like the word of the year for me. I feel like discernment, accountability, things like it's just a word that I think it's the power word of the year, to teach the children, like Madeline, you were talking about, like the mean kids. It's not only the mean kids, the mean adults these days too, like just people straying away from each other. I'm historically not, like, I'm a Leo Scorpio. So it's like I'm an extrovert but introvert. So I've never been afraid of groups, but I've always thrown myself into groups, like, and just as myself, but not really fully knowing myself, I think, or putting, or learning enough about myself. Growing up, I was different from everyone. I was, of my friends, the creative, the artist. I've been painting since I was a child. Two things, constants in my life that I know: I wanted to be an artist and I knew I wanted to be a mother. I didn't think of anything else. Like, I knew those were two things. I didn't think, I've played around with different ideas of, I might want to do this or I might want to do that, like very normal things, because other people, like classmates or whatever, was like an architect, a doctor. But I was the girl that collected pet rocks. And it was supported, but it wasn't supported to the point of like, go do something like that with the rest of your life. It's like, you can go do that on the weekend, but or you're the weird one of us, or the one that went and talked to everyone and things like that. So my energy was kind of all over the place. And even when as I mentioned, I started this late in life, this path, but it feels like it was the path, of course, that I would needed to take from the beginning of existence. Like, finally I put all the pieces together, but still not using discernment, still like kind of throwing myself in without really knowing myself. So I'm learning to, like, and I hear everyone, so I understand a little bit. I feel like a little bit of everybody. As Rebecca had said, I give the benefit of the doubt. I'm the queen of the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. And sometimes, people show you their true colors from the beginning. And so I think, as a body worker and someone that works with Reiki, works with yoga, where I'm trying to learn discernment, maybe, or where it might come in the loudest for me, is maybe in my body. Like, how do I feel when I walk in a space? How do I feel around certain people? Like, do I have a knot in my stomach? Do I feel, is something pushing me away? Do I feel guarded? And so, yeah, I think listening to everyone, a little bit of everybody, a little bit understanding of where, how to move, how this feels comfortable. I feel like this has been naturally curated from the universe to put some people together. We all have glasses. Everybody's wearing glasses. And learning, just learning about how more about ourselves, about each other, and how to take this wisdom, right, to teach it. Yes, I'm also very interested in helping the future. I think us just even doing this, we are all concerned with the future. Sometimes you think of your purpose and you see we're at war and things are happening, and what's going to happen to me. I have a son who's deployed, and I'm like, well, my job, I think, is to help the future, to help usher in the future. Like everyone, I can get caught up in something, but I just try to bring it back to the heart, and like the trees, we are all connected. That's been in my meditations and stuff like that, just thinking that our roots are all at the core of the earth. We are all one. All our roots go deep, and there is not a difference between me and that sycamore and that frog and that Daisy, and that, there's no difference. And sharing that, teaching that. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered the question.
Well, I think we did great. Everybody touched on what we got. Yeah, I mean, I believe that we have established an opening space. All the flowers have introduced themselves and shared their frequency. We're becoming our own bouquet of beauty. And now, to me, I think the wisdom is in putting it up there, right? Like we've mentioned in some of our shares, right? Because we've cultivated a heart space and now we want to broadcast it, right? And we want to broadcast it like a frequency of possibility to inspire people who may not believe that things can and will change, right? Because that's what happens. Things change, right? So our job is to be able to stay sane while it's changing, right? And that's not always the easy trick, yeah? Because you have to let go of one thing to be the next one, right? And that's usually the trick of it. So is there anything else that anybody wants to comment or respond to anyone else's shares before we start to move towards sending this one up there as our hello? We want to help things grow. We want to get wiser and raise the frequency higher. Is there anything that anyone wants to bring in reflection of anyone?
I just would like to put in that word trust, because even though there are so many different ways to, I think, Marianne, you used the word discern. There are so many ways to walk into a new group, whether that group means one person or 150 or, a concert of 1,000. It doesn't matter. This was a hard thing for me. Was to trust those little nudges, whatever they are, whether they're energetic or physical or visual, because the more that we trust those little signals, it's like a muscle, the intuition. It works in so many different ways because we are all different. And as we flex that muscle, it allows us to become stronger in trusting how and when and with whom we can really share the light of who we are. So I think trust is a good part of something to mention.
Yeah, and trust the process, right? I mean, the universe is a troll and it wants us whole. Like the universe wants us to come back together. So trusting the process is part of the surrender to the part we create that says, let me just figure out this part. Let me just get it this way and then I'll let go. It's like, well, actually, you got to let go and grow the whole time. Because something smarter than all of us is bringing into your field opportunities, but being able to discern, being able to trust, listening to your body, muscle testing, is this where I go or not go? Is this the right thing? Those things help you know that you're paying attention to her, like she's sacred. Like take care of her. Don't just throw her around, like treat her like she's gold. And everyone else is gold too, but be your own gold, yeah? So anyone else have any reflections or questions or thoughts before we kind of send it up and out? Because I'm wanting to make that part of what we do. And for the listeners, I'll just say that you've also been in a stirring of our hearts, right? So when we close and send it up, this is for your integration too, because one of the things I learned, and I know some of you do it too, is you really want to take your own energy back to you and let the other energies go, because the clarity that you hold is in your own container, your own instrument, right? So part of what we'll do is we send it up is let it go where it goes and keep myself clear so I can continue to hear the intuition that guides my way of being, right? And that's an invitation for everyone to have that freedom. So any questions or reflections? All right. So I thank each and every one of you for your presence today. And I bless you with so much abundance for your gifts. And I pray that you continue to be even more and more authentic in the shifts that are upon us. And as we close, I'm going to ask Rebecca when I'm done to sing those bells to send it further and wider. I have seen here in the StreamYard, there's little buttons I can press for sounds, but I didn't want to take the risk the first time, but we'll see what we do to make it more fun. But for now, the seed's been planted. You know, we consider it like the spring, right? We just put the seed in the ground. And so now we let it bloom and we see what it needs and we water it and we spread it around and we see what happens, right? So for this closing, I ask that each and every one of you just kind of move yourself in a way that you find your center. However it is that you're accustomed to finding your center. Bring yourself into your center. Maybe your hands are up for receiving. Maybe they're here at your heart. However it feels true, I ask you to do that. And just imagine from the left and the right and the front and the back and above and below all of your energy coming back into the center, into the flow and the current of creation that makes you you. And I thank everybody's hearts and words for saying what they say. And I call the angels, the elementals, the ancestors, the guides, and the wisdom of us from the inside to continue to loosen the grip of any of the disease to please and any of the ways that block our authenticity. May we continue to see those pieces just fall away like a seed breaking through its bud to bloom each and every day. May anyone who's listening be released of the disease to please and instead learn to listen and discern to understand what their intuition knows and what they're here to bring. Inhale deep to the belly. Fill it up as much as you can. Hold it there and let go of anything that's not you out your mouth, slow and steady, back to the ground like compost for the next round. One more time, deep to the belly that way. Breathing in peace, clarity, and satisfaction. Holding it, filling up. Letting go of lack, disparity. And I ask you to rub your hands together and place them here at your heart space. And I want to make sure that we're in coherence of our brain and our heart and our body. So I want you to inhale like there's a pencil going up over your head and then down onto your heart, making a figure 8. We're going to do it 4 times. Inhale up over. Bring it back down and under your heart. And inhale up and back down. 2 more times, staying in your center, bringing the heart and the mind together better. And maybe live and grow as one, like the moon and the sun and the forest too. Aho mitaki asana, klaso kamari. Omateo, gratitude to all of you. And Rebecca, if you could just sing those bells for us as we let the space go, and thank each and every one of you for sharing what you know. See you in a month. Keep talking real.
Thank you.